Well, it's been about 24 hours. You can start to see some of the rust getting dissolved off the top of that piston. It doesn't look like the level went down, so it looks like it still has more work to do. Take a look at the head. Pretty much the same here. It looks like we're getting some movement. I don't know. I guess we'll give it another day. I mean, maybe I'll let it sit for the week. Probably not going to be able to do much because my vacation is over and now I'm back to work. So I probably won't be able to touch this until, another week anyway. So until next time. I'm just checking to see how the evaporust is doing. It looks like it's working there. I think I'm probably just going to hit it with a wire brush or something light just to break through that glaze of oil. I may need to dump this, clean it out, and put some degreaser in there, and then run the rust remover through it again. And here we have the actual piston, and we have losing some due to evaporation, but it's not actually getting down in there. But you can see that light area where it's actually removing rust. Let me grab a brush and I'll come back here in a second. Okay, let me take a brush around the corner here, around the edges. Yeah, you can see all that garbage is pulling out of there. I think I might dump this out and put some more in there. That's pretty gross. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's pretty gross. Let me go ahead and dump that out and dry it out with a paper towel. We'll see what we're working with. See if it's any better. Alright, I dragged it out. Sprayed some degreaser in there just for a minute or so. I think I'll pour some in, let it sit. This purple stuff you buy over at AutoZone works really well, but you gotta be careful on aluminum, it'll eat it really quickly. So I'll drop some in there, maybe let it sit 5-10 minutes and dump it. As far as the cylinder and the piston, we got a lot of gunk, as you can see, a lot of buildup of rust and gunk here. So I'm going to see if I can scrape some of that out. I'll rinse this out and then I'll pour some degreaser just to clean it. I'll put some more of that rust remover in. Maybe that'll help out some more. Well, I can see the valves. That's a good sign. I'm going to go ahead and pour some more evaporust in there, let it sit for another couple of days, see if I can get just the rest of all the little crap that's in there. Then I can take the heads apart, and maybe I don't have to have them refurbished. We'll see. And here we have that degreaser. You can see it working in there. You can see the bubbles moving around. I'm going to let this sit in here for about an hour or so. I don't care if it burns that piston. And the inside should be iron, so that should really degrease that really well. Hopefully it'll get down in between the piston sides too and eat that whatever grease is still in there. I'll come back and see if I can hammer it out. A little before. We'll see how this looks in a day or so. Probably be real muddy. Well, it's been a week since I've been able to work on this, so I figured I'd come out and try hammering on it. Looks like we still have fluid in there. That's the evaporust, so that tells me it hasn't really eaten any rust away on the sides of the piston, but hopefully there's enough to actually get it to budge. Look at the head here. You can see all that stuff evaporated. In fact, a lot of it actually came out of this intake, the intake valve. So I'm probably gonna have to lap these valves. That means they're leaking. Anyway, so let me set up the camera. I'll put this in here, start wailing on it. Hopefully that's enough height. If I put this all the way down, I think that bottom's the crank at the bottom, and so there's really no place for the piston to move if I do that. So I pulled this up as far as I could. I can't, and this is as far as I can get the blocks in. I can't get it high enough to turn these 90 degrees. I could probably shave them down on the saw, but we'll give this a try first. Start wailing on this with the big 10-pound hammer and see what it does. Alright, so I put this here to hold these in. They immediately flew out, so let's give this another try. I don't think I'm doing much good. I can't really tell if that budged at all. I just seem to be mashing up the end of the block here. Alright, I might have to heat this up. I was trying to avoid that, but yeah, maybe gotta do it. Alright, so now I have it set up in the 12-ton press from Harbor Freight. Hopefully this will allow me to push that out. This is a very expensive tool that I'm not going to break, so I have a bushing on the top and on the bottom. This is used for removing the what screw is I think it's the nut on the shaft on an old 4-speed transmission. That's what you need. Any case, the bars that come with this don't fit because I can't get this through it, so I found this old bed frame. Hopefully these will hold up while this is pushing. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to bend, but we'll give it a try. Hopefully, you know, having it like this, that should give it the strength it needs. So we'll go ahead and give this a try, see if it works. Well, not getting difficult. I've seen it push. Yeah, we're starting to see a bend here. Yeah, so these aren't strong enough. You see here, this is starting to bend. So we're not getting any movement on the piston itself. All we're doing is bending that piece of iron. So I need a stronger piece of iron, 2 stronger pieces of iron. I might have to go to the store. I don't know. Let me see what I have laying around. Okay, so I found these in my pile of parts. I think they're the front end for a old Sportster. They should be pretty strong, hopefully strong enough that they don't bend. So go ahead and give this a try. I think I got a good solid bite on that now, so let's give it a try and see what we break. Hopefully we won't break the motor. Something gave. Is that a good sign? Let's see. That is a great sign. All right. Let's see if you can see down in there. You can now see a lip. Looks like it did push that down a bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and push it all the way through. Hopefully it will catch it. Unfortunately, I'm by myself today, so I'm not looking to drop a motor. Okay. I think we're pushing the sleeve out with the piston. It's actually not such a bad thing. I need to get this reworked anyway. All right. Success. I mean, that's pretty hard fast in there if it's pushing the sleeve out. My goodness. I can't imagine the force that requires. Huh? I don't know. I could be wrong. I was wrong once. Well, I thought I was wrong, but actually I was mistaken. Let's get the head off. We're hung up on the studs now. So I think at this point I could probably drop the motor down and the weight of it probably pull it out. If not, I can jump on it. That's what it says in the manual. If you can't get it out, put it in the press and jump on it. Woohoo! Success. Huh. So that was a sleeve, not a piston. There you go. I'll show you that in a minute. I don't know if you can see down in there. So, I mean, that might be repairable. I mean, I'm sure it is. The question is how much meat you have to take off in order to actually repair it. So, alright, let me get this back out and situate it again, and I'll be right back. Okay, that was successful. I know I had a lot of people commented, and I appreciate the comments and suggestions, both on my Rumble channel and my YouTube channel. Also on my MeWe group, a lot of great advice. A lot of that advice included using fire, and I'm not opposed to using fire. It's just that fire and aluminum and oil and grease, you know, that doesn't go well when you're working in a basement. And
you know, these parts, I figure, let me see what I can do with force before I try burning it. And that seemed to work. You know, obviously I punched a hole in the top of this piston using, you know, a screw. So the idea is that, you know, if you're ever going to replace wheel bearings, some of these kits, they're a big long screw. You pop in there and you turn it and it pulls the bearing out or pushes the bearing in. So I had one of those, but that was an old one, a garbage one that, you know, I could break. And I did break it. That's okay though. So at least we have the ability now to take this piston out. And as far as I can tell, you know, is this thing moving or what? Let's see. See that? Now if I move that, you see the piston going up and down? It wasn't going up and down before, and this is the kicker assembly, right? So when you kick this, this causes the piston to move. It, you know, the spark plug sparks, air and fuel go into the system, it's compressed. Boom, right here, boom, pushes it back down again, and there's your power stroke. So that's a good sign. All this is moving. I really don't have to take this apart. I think at the very least I'll pour some degreaser down in there, or maybe just soap and water. I don't want to go too crazy because the degreaser can actually ruin this aluminum if any is stuck in there. So even if you use the degreaser, you still have to go in with some soap and water to get all that out of there. But you know, there's also a chance I dropped a bunch of stuff down in here, so maybe, you know, taking it out and shooting a water hose up in there to rinse everything, get it to flush out, you know, kind of like an enema. And then after that, WD-40 everything, make sure it's all dried out. I could put some hot air in there, that'll make sure all the water's dried out. Then we can move forward with actually checking tolerances and so on. You know, you're going to have a certain amount of side-to-side movement here, which that's kind of extreme, but I don't know what it's supposed to be on this bike. You know, that doesn't seem too bad actually. You're going to be riding on a wrist pin here, so you're going to get a lot of side-to-side movement, but that's okay because this is where, you know, your front and your back are where you're going to be touching the entire inside of the cylinder. The sides, this is oval shaped, believe it or not, for those of you who don't know. This is a slight oval. I don't know if this does, but generally speaking, these pistons are oval shaped. The sides will be thinner, and that gives you the ability to have oil get down into the rings. But just gives it the ability to expand and so on, I guess. I'm not a mechanic. I raid. I don't fully understand everything, but I aspire to. Here, you know, that's a pretty rough shape. So I think what I'm probably going to do is clean these up. What I have to do is just hand this off to a shop and ask them to provide a piston and match it. So what they'll do is they'll get a piston and they'll match it to what the next size is up that they can cut. Unfortunately, I don't know if this is an original piston because I kind of, you know, usually there's a number stamped on there. If it's a 1, I think, or a 0, or 2, depending on how much it's been bored out and how much oversized the piston is from original. So this would have to go with an oversized piston in order to make this work again, and some head work here, which, like I said, this is probably a $100 job. Send somebody in there, plus the cost of the piston and the rings, $200. It's not, you know, it's not bad. I don't even know if it's going to be that much. I'm going that based off of getting the cylinders done on the shovel head, which was about $200, but that was two pistons and 2 cylinders. So I don't know. All right, but now I'm going to go ahead and remove this piston. I probably should remove these as well, although I don't know. Everything does need to be cleaned up. So for now, I think I don't know. I'll think about this and what I'm going to do next, because now I'm looking at this bike and what am I going to do with it now? I can clean the engine, I can clean the bike. It'll be a patina bike. Maybe just steel wool all the rust. I don't know. We'll see, but I don't want to make this necessarily restored when it really doesn't have to, especially since, I mean, I don't know what's aftermarket on this or not, but it doesn't look like there's really anything that is aftermarket besides that seat, as far as I can tell. Even has the original #1 sticker on there. All right, until next time.